finishing up a few things so I can meet you. Just give me a few moments and I'll be right with you. Yes. I want to make sure up a few things so I can meet you. Just give me a few moments and I'll be right with you.
It's 7 o'clock.
Well, it's 7 o'clock and it's time for the antidote. Yes, this is your brother, Pastor O, and I'm here preparing for you. I've been doing this all day trying to make sure I had something relevant that will be a blessing to you when we got together. And so I am going to start the clock. I promise you, I will get us out of here within 60 minutes and less. That's my promise. So what are we going to be doing today? We're at the antidote, and the antidote is a remedy for stinking thinking in modern times. You know, it seems like we've lost our way, and God just put it on my heart to do this study. First of all, for my children. So the first nine episodes are really directed toward the youth, and these latter ones are for grown folks. Yes. And so today we have a lot to cover, but we're gonna try to take it easy. I'm gonna share my screen with you just to give you an idea of what we are doing. It seems like, let me make sure I got the right thing up here. Yeah, there it is. I'm trying to share my screen, but I didn't know what I was looking for. I think I have it here. This is all a new experiment for me, you guys, so please bear with me as I work my way around all the things that I have to do this right. Seems like I've done it enough times that I should be able to have it right. But there, I guess I got it right now. Let's see if it actually shows up. What are you seeing on YouTube? I have no idea. Let's see what you're seeing there. Oh, you're still seeing me. I'm gonna... Alright, so here we go. The clock is still ticking, and I'm gonna keep my promise where I said that I would get us out of here in under 60 minutes. So, here we go. We are, that's what's going on. The share button. So we are here in the book of Proverbs. We are in the 17th chapter. Today I want to introduce you to these two books I'm using today. I'm not using this New King James Version. I'm using the New English translation, NET. And that New English translation is here. It's a powerful tool that we're using. And we're going to start off with one of the key elements that we find there. What does it say at the very beginning? It says this. It's crazy, y'all. It says this. It says that the better is a dry crust of bread where there is quietness and peacefulness than a house full of feasting with strife. Now, what is that saying? Well, I tell you what it's not saying. It's not saying that we should not party, or it's not saying that we don't want to have a good time, but it is saying that it's better to have peace and tranquility. We're in a world where a whole lot of trouble is going on, and people are going through all kinds of things. So it's saying that this wise saying is saying that, look, it's actually better for us to have a little bit of dry bread with no salt. I mean, just a bland meal, than to have a bountiful 7-course meal in a place with a whole bunch of strife. You get that? That's easy to get. So I want you to be mindful of that as we go throughout your day, that we are looking for ways to be at peace. Yes, we're looking at ways to be at peace with God, not to be in strife, not to be struggling, but to be at peace, not only with God, but with one another. I'm trying to get this clock so I can see it so I don't go overtime. That's good. Now we got the clock set up perfectly. Now, I hope by this time, if those are going to be coming in, that you have already come into the room. But I'll be working on it some more. Tomorrow, I'll be even better at it. So right now, we're starting with this concern regarding the regarding how we're supposed to handle ourselves when we're in a situation in a house. We want the goal in our house is peace. Now, I also want to introduce you to this new message Bible, and what it is a practical application. The man is doing the same thing with this Bible that I want to do for my children. I just wanted to give them something that they can use, and he said it this way: a meal of bread and water is in contented peace is better than a banquet spiced with quarrels. Yeah, we don't want no fights. I really don't like to eat. When I'm eating, I like to have peace and quiet. I don't like to have a bunch of noise when I am eating. All right. So now, I told myself that I was going to go through. Yes, read the note. What note do I want to read for you for this one? I don't know. I hate when I get this and I just feel like, what did I do? Where did it go? What am I looking for? Yes, but this first one has to do with so the next one is this: a wise servant takes charge. A servant who acts wisely will rule over her heir. Man, I think I'm going to stop. I'm going to start restarting. Nah, I'm not. I'm going to keep going. We have to fix this out later. All right, I'm going to be at peace and I'm going to work it out. For verse 3, it says, no. Verse 2, a servant who acts wisely will rule over an heir who behaves shamefully and will share the inheritance along with relatives. What this is basically saying that you can be an employee of a wealthy person, and the sons and daughters, they're part of the inheritance. But if that son or daughter is constantly causing the pain to their parents by acting foolishness, then actually an employee who puts that son in check, who helps that son get himself together, can actually become the inheritor, and the person who's supposed to be in the inheritance can get ridden out. It's just that simple. Wisdom is preferred over foolishness. That's it. Now we're on the road. Now we got it. Now we got number 3. Number 3, it says this: the crucible is for refining silver, and the furnace is for gold. Likewise, the Lord tests the heart. Right? All right. So what I realized was this: that when I thought about something, if you're going to use something like a crucible to refine gold, you have to heat it up. And I actually found somewhere where it said you have to heat up gold over 1,400 degrees in order for it. Yeah, I found it. That's what it meant. Now I know what it means. You have to go up to 1,400 degrees. Let me read it to you now. Where's my magnifying glass at? Here it is. Listen, it says this: the crucible for silver and the furnace for gold and silver may be refined in a graphite crucible. Gold melts at the temperature of 1,948 degrees, right? And sterling silver at the temperature of 1,640 degrees. That's when it melts. But you have to add an additional 338 degrees is necessary to allow the metal to be poured out without freezing and getting stuck and turning into something else that you don't want. It is important to avoid oxygen infiltration as much as possible during the melting process, so that the structure of the metal will not become porous. Now here's the part I want you to get. The refining process requires expertise and an intimate knowledge of tools and metals involved, such as it is an apt metaphor for God's teaching of the heart. Compare the weighing of the heart and the judgment of the soul and the Egyptians. So here's what that's basically saying: that what God does is, just as he used heat and metal and knowledge and all that kind of stuff to make, I like silver pieces, nice silver pieces. Yeah, I didn't know I had to get as hot as over 1,400 degrees, right? almost 1900 degrees just to make the metal soft enough. But what this is saying is that's a metaphor for God. What God does is he sometimes turns up the heat in our life with circumstances and situations so that he can burn out the dross out of our heart, so that we can have that pure, clean, shiny heart. Because you know when you got the metal at the right level, when you can look in the metal and see your face reflected in it, then you got it at the right, then you have it at the right temperature. So God is the refiner of our heart. He is the crucible. We live and move and have our being in him, and God is the crucible through which we are refined and our heart is purified. Now we rolling. Now we got that. The next one I'm going to go back. Let's go back to the screen. Let's go back to the text. Read a little bit more. Now, the next one is, we're going to look at a few more scriptures. Now, number 4 says, one who acts wickedly pays attention to evil counsel. A liar listens to the malicious tongue. Now, that's easy. You understand. If you act wickedly, the Proverb constantly teaches that everything evolves around the mouth. A lot of stuff, and what I mean the mouth, actually the heart, because what comes out of the heart is what defiles a person. So if you have wickedness and darkness in your heart, it's going to come out in your mouth. And also coming out in your mouth because we have communicate, we talk to one another, and it's also about community. So one of the major things I discovered that the ancients want us to be very, very careful with what we say out of our mouth. Some people say words cast spells. I don't know about that, but here we go. I think you need some words to cast some spells. I did a teaser earlier today, and I said, did you know that God counts it a personal offense when we fight against the poor? Did you know that? I really didn't know that, but now I'm understanding. Here's how it says in the proverbial text. It says, the one who mocks the poor has insulted his creator. Whoever rejoices over disaster will not go unpunished. These are two different ideas. The first one, let me deal with the first one. The one who mocks the poor has insulted his creator. Now I told myself I'm supposed to read a note from where? For number 5, the culture. So here we go, right here. Number 5. The note for number 5 says this. Listen. Whoever mocks the poor, it says, whoever mocks the poor, some proverbs mock the lazy who end up poor, but it is their slothfulness that is being ridiculed, not their poverty. God doesn't mock the poverty. Now, Proverbs is aware that there are other reasons, including social injustice, that lead to poverty. So we understand that. It's not talking about that. But it is saying this. We can cite similar ideas from the ancient Near East. They warned not to laugh at the blind or the lame. In the same vein, it was considered wrong to sneer at the unfortunate or those who are downtrodden. Here's the main idea that's all about. The main idea is that we, whoever we are, especially whoever we are, if we find ourselves in what they call a poor situation, what that means is that for whatever reason we're in that situation. But we are not to, those people who are wealthy are not to make fun of them, because God said those people are created just like you in my own image and likeness. So when you're making fun of the poor, you're making fun of me. I remember, now here's a practical thing, and it's sort of like this. When I was younger, we would never play with crutches. We would not go out to play with crutches, and we would not play with wheelchairs like we were playing. Why did we not do that? Because in a sense, that was us mocking those people who had to be on crutches and on wheelchair. And if we think that's funny, God can make us be on crutches and wheelchairs too. So it's just not cool to mock the poor, because we are created in God's image and in God's likeness. So when you're doing that, you're making fun of God when you're making fun of the poor. And that's whatever kind of poor, financially poor, emotionally poor, intellectually poor, whatever kind of poor it is. When you start doing that, you're making fun. When we start doing that, we're making fun of the Lord. He doesn't like that. The second part of that part said this: the wicked person listens to verse 5. The second part says, Whoever gloats over disaster will go unpunished. Let me see how I said it in this version. Whoever gloats over disaster will not go unpunished. Here it is in this one. Whoever rejoices over disaster will not go unpunished. What does that mean, man? That means that even if it's your enemy, when your enemy stumbles and falls and gets some of that craziness that they've been dishing out, and calamity comes upon them, it is not proper. It's out of order for us to make fun of it. Nah. I'm using real immature stuff to say you fell down. Now it's that. No. It actually teaches that if you do that, if you have that kind of attitude when somebody faces the calamity or actually gets their due reward for the evil that they've been doing, and you're laughing at it, it actually says that God gets angry about that, because it's like he doesn't want the calamity to come upon them, but their ways, that what they're enduring causes the calamity to fall upon them. So he wants to change that. So if you want to act out and you want to laugh at those people who have calamity, that will not go unpunished. That's a fact. That's what I'm trying to say to you. So it's not cool. I don't know if people know about that, but it's not cool to laugh at people when they down and try to make fun of them when they got some crazy stuff going on. I don't know. Let's go a little bit further in this. We were at number 5. We should be moving down to some other ones. I won't teach all of it in great detail, but I will be doing some of it because it's good for us. Let's see. I think I have a couple of more things I can share with you regarding these earlier passages. Look what it says here. I'm going to skip G, but I am going to go to M and R. Yes. Look at this. R. A mocker of the poor. One who mocks the poor is the one who rejoices and gloats over disaster. Where the disaster resulted in the poverty of others, the topic of the parable is the person who mocks others by making fun of their own misfortune. Not cool. Not right. Now, the other one, this number 6 says, grandchildren are like a crown to the elderly, and the glory of children is their parents. So basically it's saying that if you live long enough to have grandchildren, they become your crown. Wow, I got grandchildren. And not only did I have children and they lived well and they carried on with their life, but now I got grandchildren carrying on the name, and that becomes like yesterday we talked about the gray head becoming a crown, but your grandchildren become a crown for you. Because they're continuing the generation. And then it says for the children, their parents is their crown. If you got good parents, then you can be a crown. There are a lot of children walking around here without any crowns because their parents were tripping and out of order. And then their grandparents had to take the parents' position, so the grandparents didn't even get a chance to really rejoice over the children as joy, because then they're somewhat of a burden because they had raised their children. Now they got to raise the children of their children, and that is not cool. That's out of order. So let's keep it moving. Let's see. Verse 6. We did that. Verse 7. And verse 7 is easy. I'm not going to spend a lot of time with it. Excessive speech is not becoming for a fool, but how much less are lies for a ruler? Good. Now here's one that got me. I was so surprised. Did you know that bribes are can actually considered a good thing? But the weird thing about teaching in Proverbs, now bribes, I don't know. This might be one of those words that we might have to look up. Bribe. What is a bribe? A bribe. A bribe. Bribe. Here's what a bribe is. A bribe is money or favor given or promised in order to influence the judgment or the conduct of a person in a position of trust. Money or favor given or promised in order to influence the judgment or conduct of a person in position of trust. Something that served to induce influence, to induce or influence. That's what a bribe is. So by itself, a bribe is not evil, it's not bad. So a bribe, but here's what the Bible says. The ancient one said, a bribe works like a charm for the one who offers it. Another version says it's like a gift. Receiving a gift is like getting a rare gemstone. And any way you look at it, you see beauty refracted. So the person who's receiving a bribe, they're getting something, and the person who's giving the bribe is getting something, because they're giving so that they can get, right? The whole concept of a bribe in and of itself is not bad, because you like, you know, how does it look in modern time? Here's what it looks like in modern time. It looks like this in modern times. You know how when yeah, thank you, Lord. You know how when they go to the club, right, and you know, there's a whole line of people, and then somebody walked up to the den and they talk to they walk to the big security guard and say, "Hey man, what's up? What's up?" They dap, give him some dap. When he give him that dap, if he's smart, he might have $20-$30 in that dap. Say, "Man, you know, can you give me a hookup? Put me up." And then then he open up open up the line. Come on down. Boom, they in. What happened was he used the ancient teaching. Whoever did that, he or she used the ancient teaching that a bribe can get you in some places where just sitting and standing in line won't. Just doing good. No, sometimes it won't. But now, to balance that out, I want to show you something else. Now that was verse 8 in the same proverb. If you look at verse, let's see, I put a note for that. Verse 23. Let's go down to verse 23. We're gonna come back to this. We're going down to verse 23. Still talking about a bribe, right? It says this: a wicked person receives a bribe secretly to pervert the ways of justice. All right? A wicked person receives a bribe to pervert justice. Now, when a person is using that gift or that bribe to cause someone who is like a judge or someone to cause them to overturn their decision or to vote in their favor, that's wicked. When you're using the bribe to twist justice or to distort justice, that's out of order, right? So on one hand, the bribe or the gift can be used for good, to advance the cause that you have and to make it a mutual beneficial thing. But on the other hand, it can be used for evil, because you can use it. Some people take that bribe and then they change their judgment, they change their decisions, they vote for something that they know is evil, but they do it because they just got paid. They got that payola. All right. So both of those things are out there, and I did not know, because I always thought of a bribe as evil. So bribe me, but bribe me for righteousness and not for wickedness. I'm really just having fun. I don't need a bribe right now. And I'm definitely not going to take a bribe to distort justice or judgment. All right. So we're going to keep on going now. Now we're going to go to, where I want to go next? I want to go to number 9. The one who forgives an offense seeks love, but whoever repeats the matter separates close friends. Now, this is some deep stuff right here, because when you start thinking about friends, now we are in a time where friends are far and in between. But sometimes we have to, instead of getting angry with our friend, we have to cover our friend. But if that friend is out there putting lies out you in the streets, then that might can cause a problem and destroy the friendship. So basically, is when you're trying to keep and maintain good relationships with people, you want to be able to cover the offense. Okay, you heard that person did that. You ain't got to blab everybody. That person had a stumble. That person fell. Like for instance, say the person got drunk at a party, right? And you saw them at the party. You can cover that and say, man, look, it's time for you to go home. And you don't have to tell anybody about it. You saw him, you sent him home, you actually sent him on an Uber, and you covered that foolishness. But if you go, you see that, you saw him drunk, right? Told him to go home and then go and tell everybody, man, that fool was falling down, he was drunk, and telling everybody about it, trying to bring down the character. That's a problem right there. And that is not godly or righteous thinking or being, and that becomes a problem. So we want to get away from those type of things. We want to work toward that which is good and righteous and wholesome. All right, let's go. Now, number 11. An evil person seeks only rebellion, so a cruel messenger will be sent against him. So evil, you're doing evil, it's going to come up to be rebellion, it's going to cause some fight, some contention, some problems, right? It's going to cause some strife and contention, right? Because you're doing evil, and then what's going to happen with that is that, okay, then a cruel messenger will come up against them. Good. Number 11, we did that. Now let me see, I had some notes for number 11. Let's see. I say this, let it go. Number 11, let it go. An evil person seeks only rebellion, but a cruel messenger will be sent against him. It is better for a person to meet a mother bear being robbed of her cubs than to encounter a fool in his folly. You know that's right. Because fools, you come with a fool with his folly, they mess you up your life. They can, they can ruin marriages, they can ruin relationships, it can just be a horrible, terrible thing, and we would not want that to happen here. Let us go, I want to look at something here. We're going to keep it moving. We already looked at 14. I think this verse right here, we're going to come up to, is super important for us to take a look at. Yes, yes, yes. Look at this verse here, verse 14. Starting a quarrel is like letting water out, abandoning strife before it breaks out. All right, let me read it in this other version. To start a quarrel is like a leak in a dam, so stop it before it bursts. What that is saying, friends, is this. Say you got a good friend, y'all been friends for a long time, and then y'all maybe start horse playing or doing something, y'all flaming each other up, right? But then all of a sudden you go over the line and that flame start to hurt. And then, so it says, now once that start to hurt, it is wise for you to shut it down, to de-escalate, to turn that off. Because if you don't, it'd be like you turned on a faucet. First it start dripping, then it start running, then it turns to not to a drip to a run. Now it's a whole river of anger and craziness toward your friend, and you might even end up losing your friend. This is not so. What we have to do in order to learn how to have good relationships with one another, when an offense comes, take care of it right away. What does it say? Do not let the sun go down on your wrath, on your anger. Don't let a whole day go by and you still tripping on something your friend did. Talk to your friend. Tell them, I didn't like how that feel. When you said that, it made me feel this way. And now that you got it out, and because you're trying to maintain the relationship, because you know that you've been rolling with each other for a long time, every now and then, something stupid happens. So we want to be wise in how we work with other people. We don't want to just cast away our friends over some foolishness. It says there's a good note here. Let me see if I can find that good note here. Right here. Let's see what this one says. We're not quite there yet. So I got to go. Yeah, we did. Now we're here. The one who acquits the guilty and the one who condemns the innocent. The one who acquits the guilty and the one who condemns the innocent. Both of them are an abomination to the Lord. Anytime you see scripture where it says this is an abomination to the Lord, you really, really, really want to take a good look at that and see what that's saying, because it's saying something that we want to avoid. We don't want anything that God can't stand, that God thinks is so ugly and so nasty and so out of order that he would not want it to happen to you. So here it is. Let's go back to the text and look at it again so we can get some more insight out of this text. Here's a note. The person who justifies the wicked and who condemns the righteous, right? That person is like this, is what they call an abomination. Goes on to say this. To declare righteous something that is actually wicked is out of order. To declare someone righteous who is guilty, criminal, or to condemn someone who is innocent, both are what they call abominations for righteousness, judge of the whole world. Let me read that again. To declare someone righteous who is a guilty criminal, or to condemn someone who is innocent, are both abominations for the righteous judge of the whole earth. Who is the righteous judge of the whole earth? The great I am. That's God himself. So he does not like when we call evil good, or when we condemn the innocent. Got that? That's good. Let's see how this other person said. Whitewashing bad people and throwing mud on good people are equally abhorrent to God. That's nice. I like that. He did a good job on that. That's why I brought this out today. Let's go a little bit further and keep this thing rolling. We're making good time. We might get in under an hour today, and that would be wonderful. What's the point of a fool having money in hand to buy wisdom when his head is empty? That's basically saying you got money. You think you can buy. If you're ignorant and you're foolish, you think you can buy your way to get some wisdom. Wisdom cannot be bought. Wisdom has to be earned through time and through passing down of information. You can't just buy it. You have to earn it. All right. So I hope that's helpful for you. Let's see how this other homie did it. He said, "Friends love those." No, how do you say it? What's this? Fools out shopping for wisdom? They won't recognize it if they even saw it, because they don't have the capacity. They're wicked. They're out of order. Verse 17. A friend loves at all times, and a relative is born to help. Now, this one I think is very important for us to just take a moment to look at. A friend loves at all times, and a relative is born to help. Let's see, get a little help from the other guy, Mr. Peterson. Friends love through all kinds of weather, and families stick together in all kinds of trouble. All right? So let's go a little bit deeper in there. There was a Women's Study Bible. I have a note from the Women's Study Bible about friends. Now, I told you I use all kinds of Bibles, and here's my Women's Study Bible, so I can get a good idea about what's going on in different areas. Let's find a note for number 17. 17. Here's what it says. 17. A true friend, like a brother, loves at all times, in joy and sorrow, sickness and health. When communication is easy, and when communication requires hard work. At all times means there are no times when one does not love a friend. A genuine friend multiplies joys and divides the sorrows. Wow, what a wonderful thing. Isn't that beautiful? That was some insight on that. And now here's let me just go back to verse 14 a second, because I remember I had this. I thought this was a great reading, and I want to share. Remember, it says, "Starting a quarrel is like letting out water. Abandon strife before it breaks out." Here's a nice way of saying it in the Women's Bible. This is good for relationships. The Women's Bible. A quarrel begins like a teeny hole in a reservoir that leases only a trickle of water. If not stopped, however, the trickle becomes a flood, and ensues a conflict. Should be dropped. An issue of conflict should be dropped before a dispute can ever begin. So if you feel that conflict, drop it. That's where I had. Let's just drop it. Just drop it. If you have this issue of conflict, should be dropped before a dispute can even begin. Nothing should be allowed to fester. This excellent advice will keep peace in all relationships. I had to go back because I'm realizing that this whole chapter, that it goes around relationships, and I'm actually experiencing a relationship. I'm trying to give some good advice to somebody who's about to throw away a friendship. I guess that's why I'm pretty disturbed about it. About to throw away a friendship for a misunderstanding. And it's just a temporary thing. So I'm trying to advise that individual, go ahead and nip that in the bud. Don't let it go further. Now, I'm going to ask you, is there some kind of thing that you know that just come up into your life, and you know that it's your friend, but if that keeps going on, then you're going to have a problem. You and him going to be throwing blows or something like that, or flaming each other to the point that you can't even stand each other anymore. That is not what we want to have happen. We want to cut it off at the head. We don't want to let it go down too far. Now I can go back. We were at number 18. 18 says this. The one who lacks sense strikes hands in a pledge and puts up financial security for his neighbor. Now, this when you strike a hand for a pledge, it's like you're shaking a hand. It's like when you're shaking a hand. Yeah, thank you, Lord. Thank you for showing me how to do this. It's like the one who strikes friends. The friend. Let me see. The one who lacks sense strikes hands in a pledge and puts up financial security for his neighbor. Now, it's like, I can't afford what I want to buy. It's way beyond my thing. But if you co-sign with this, then I can get it. But then the Bible taught us in earlier episodes, don't do that. It's dumb. And this is what it says in this version. The other guy who does the paraphrase says, it's stupid to try to get something for nothing or running up huge bills you can never pay. And the only way you're doing that is that's why you're trying to get somebody to agree with you to co-sign. If you're in a situation, don't do it. Now, you have to be mindful of this. It could be something that with your family that you have to be concerned about, but at any rate, you want to make sure that they are right. In verse 19, let me bring it back up for you at verse 19 so that you can see where we're going now. Here's where we're going with this. Verse 19. The one who loves a quarrel loves transgression. Whoever builds his high gate seeks destruction. Basically, if you keep on, you love fights and all that kind of stuff, it's going to end up in some kind of crazy thing, and it's going to be a big, big problem and cause the destruction of both people. Here's what this verse says. A person who courts sin marries trouble, builds a wall build a wall, invite a burglar. Because now you're building a wall because you're trying to keep the evil out, but you're the evil that you're trying to keep out. In other words, let's keep it moving. Verse 22. Verse 20. The one who has a perverse heart does not find good, and the one who's deceitful in speech falls into trouble. Here you go. Perverse heart, not going to end up good for you. Deceitful speech, you're going to run into trouble. All right, that's easy. This guy said, a bad motive can't achieve a good end. Double talk brings you double trouble. All right, that's good. Let's keep it moving. 21. Whoever brings a fool into the world does so to his grief, and a father of a fool has no joy. Look at this one, it says here. 21. Having a fool for a child is a misery. It's no fun being the parent of a dope. If you're just stupid, you're stupid. It don't make sense. It don't make no sense. It's just not cool. And you would not want to be the parent of a stupid person, because they're going to do stupid things and they're going to bring shame and embarrassment on you. So that's what it's trying to say. So you want to train up a child in the way they should go. When they're older, they would not depart therefrom. All right. So now we're going to 22, which I think 22 is a very significant part. So I'm going to read it and then we're going to talk about it. 22. A cheerful heart brings good healing. A cheerful heart brings good healing, but a crushed spirit dries up the bones. Let's go to this one. 22. A cheerful disposition is good for your heart. Gloom and doom leave you bone dry. All right, let's take a deeper look inside of this. I'm going to read some things to you from a deeper look inside of this. It says here, the deeper look says that, back to the Women's Study Bible again. Here's some teaching, Women's Study Bible, and we're looking at verse 22. It says here, inner life affects the physical well-being. Let me stop there. The inner life affects the physical well-being. What is that saying? What you thinking. If you have joy down in your heart, yeah, down in your heart. Where? Down in your heart. If you have that joy down in your heart, that's your inner life. It's going to affect everything around you. You'll walk around with a smile. You'll be uplifted. You'll feel encouraged. Your things will be wonderful. But what happens is this. Attitude affects countenance. If you have a good, smiley attitude, it's going to affect your countenance. A broken, depressed spirit may be attributed to many things. Family strife can cause a depressed spirit. Gossip can cause a depressed spirit. Quarrelings, arguments, constant arguments cause a depressed spirit. Or a foolish child can cause a depressed spirit, or a quenched spirit, or a broken spirit. How can you have a merry heart in the midst of grief and brokenness? The Apostle Paul admonishes us to trust God even within tragedy, and choose to dwell on what is good in the person or situation. Whatsoever things are good, whatsoever things are lovely, whatsoever things are a good report, think on these things. This is what God is trying to get us to do. And so when you have a good mental mindset, positive, encouraging mindset, then it can bring, it actually, that good mental mindset brings healing. Let me see what this says. I think I made a note of this. Let's see. A happy and healthy outlook on life brings to you healing. If you have a positive and healthy outlook on life, it brings to you healing, right? But what happens if you have a crushed spirit? Because I like how it says, but a crushed spirit dries up the bones. What is a crushed spirit? A crushed spirit refers to one who is depressed. A depressed spirit or a crushed spirit is figurative of an idea that one's psyche or will to go on is beaten down by circumstances. Now, if there ever was a time where the will to go on has been beaten down, this is that time. All the virus, all the quarantine, all the separation and seeing that person outside of you as a potential killer because they might have the disease and bring that to you. All that stuff, all it did was stir up a crushed spirit within us, and that crushed spirit, it says it dries up the bones. That really means figuratively it represents the whole body encased in a bony framework. So when you have depression, it starts to eat away at the very structure of your being. The bones is the thing that makes us strong, gives us the ability to move. But if we have that depressed spirit, we will not be able to do it. Fat bones in scripture mean healthy body, but dried up bones signify unhealthiness and lifelessness. So the reason why I highlighted this, because this 123 has to do with your psyche, what you're thinking. Stinking thinking, you can't win if you have stinking thinking. You can't win if you're always depressed. So I want to encourage you to think about good things. The scripture says, whatsoever things are good, whatsoever things are lovely, whatsoever things are a good report, think on these things. Now, if I were you, I would take some time to think about whatsoever things are good. What's good? You can ask yourself, what's good? Well, what is good? God is good. Life is good. Health is good. Think about things that are good. Whatsoever things are lovely. What's lovely? Man, a lovely is I don't know. When I think of lovely, I'm thinking about a hummingbird, several hummingbirds moving around. I'm thinking about a swan moving. So we start thinking about lovely things. I'm sure you can think about some things that are lovely. And this would be a practical way you can put together this truth. So you can, even if you have been depressed, you can begin to get a feeling of joy and happiness by doing what? By thinking your way to it, by lifting up your spirit, by being joyous. One of the biggest things I found, one of the best ways to get rid of a depressed spirit is start dancing. Get you some dance music and dance your troubles away, dance your frustrations away. Go on with that, and let's see what God's going to do. We're moving quickly, but we're going to be under this. I think we're going to be done in quicker than an hour today, y'all. 22, I got that. And we talked about BV. I think it talked about that. Yes. All right. Now, we're going to go on to read some more quickly. All right. I think I better show you the screen now because I'm going to go read some scripture and you might want to see it as I'm reading it. Here we go. A wicked person receives a bribe secretly to pervert the ways of the justice. Remember, now we're back at this verse 23 again. Remember, I paired it earlier where a bribe was good. Now I'm dealing with where a bribe is not so good, where this thing is being used as evil. Now watch this. It says this. It says, a wicked person receives a bribe secretly. Let's see. The fact that the gift is given secretly indicates that it was not proper. Because if you have a gift that's proper, you don't mind people seeing it. But when you're trying to give this bribe, this little something, some hush money to change a decision to make things happen in your favor, right? So it indicates that it was not proper. A concealed bribe, a secret bribe, right? So then we go here. What does it say? It said doing that causes something to pervert. It's a perversion. It means it thrusts away. It turns away. This thing turns away. This evil gift turns away, right? Turns away to injustice. It turns away from righteousness to injustice. The purpose is to give an evil intent. It says the purpose is to clarify that receiving of the gift is for an evil intent, right? The discerning person, excuse me, we're looking at verse 24 now. I'm going to share it with you so you can see what I'm talking about. Wisdom is directly in front of the discerning person, but the eyes of the fool runs to the ends of the earth. Yeah, fools they're never satisfied. They can't even find wisdom. They just always out there, out and about, getting their hands dirty, getting into some mess. But the righteous people, they have a different way of being and doing, right? And we're glad for that. Yes, we're almost done. Good. What does this say? Let's read the other person's version. It says, the perceptive find wisdom in their front yard. The perceptive does. Fools look for it everywhere, but right here. They don't even know it because it's right in front of their face, right? 25. A foolish child is a grief to his father and bitterness to the mother who bore him. I hope that you have not been a foolish child. I hope that you've been that you made your parents happy. I know for a good little while I was not making my parents happy. I was not making good decisions. I was out there in them streets doing crazy stuff, and they, that's why I got put out the house. My father's like, "You're not going to embarrass me. You're not going to have me in a situation. Keep on doing that. You're going to have to move away from us. You don't want to listen to my rules? Then get out." All right. It is terrible to punish a righteous person and to flog the honorable. It is terrible to punish a righteous person and to flog honorable men is wrong. Here's how this guy says it. It's wrong to penalize good behavior. That's a better way. I like this better. It's wrong to penalize good behavior or make good citizens pay for the crimes of others, right? So if you if you out there and you mistreating, if you're out there and you mistreating the righteous and you're punishing the righteous person, but they're doing right, and then you take the good politician and you beat them because they're doing wrong, they're doing right, and you make them feel bad, that's a problem. That's evil. Verse 27. Now, on this one, I think I want to share with you again. Share verse 27 with you because we're down to the end, but there's some things in these last few verses that I really want to highlight, and then we can go. The truly wise person restrains words. The truly wise person restrains his words, and the one who stays calm is discerning. Let's try this one. The one who knows much says little, and an understanding person remains calm. This is very, very important for us because a lot of times when we're in these situations in this world, we can turn up a situation and make it really, really bad when we don't guard our words. When you're mad with a person, don't write an email or don't write a text when you're angry at them. Don't do it because that's just going to turn to something really, really crazy. Take a woosah. Take a chill pill, sit back, go drink something. Not alcohol, not don't drink your sorrows away, but go drink some hot chocolate or something like that. Something that's gonna calm you down. Because wise people, they restrain their words. They guard their words. They withhold their words. They don't give them everything that comes to their mind. One who has knowledge speaks carefully, right? But a fool gonna tell everything. All right, let's get this out of here. I'm not gonna prolong it any longer. We're about done. It's time for us to go. We're good time. 28. Even a fool, now I gotta take a little bit more for that. 28. Even a fool who remains silent is considered wise, and the one who holds his tongue is deemed discerning. All right. So say that you really are just a fool. Say that you're a fool and you know you're a fool, but you're in a situation with a whole bunch of smart people. Now, you're in that room with all these smart people, and you know that you're a fool. You know you don't know what you're talking about. You know you're out of your league. You're in the wrong place. Here's what you do. If you want everybody to perceive you to be wise, then just do this and keep your mouth closed, because they won't know you're a fool as long as you don't open your mouth, right? So even a fool remains silent is considered wise, and the one who holds his tongue is deemed discerning. All right, that means that they become they become, let's see, yeah. I'm just checking to see if there was anything else I wanted to say to you. No, I'm gonna leave it alone. I'm gonna read this last guy's verse over here and let it go. Even dunces who keep quiet are thought to be wise. If you're a dunce, keep quiet. You might be thought to be wise. As long as they keep their mouth shut, they're smart. And I'm smart too, to know that there's a time and a place for everything, and we need to know what that time is. And this time and place is for us to say bye-bye. Keep your hands clean and your heart pure. You can't go wrong with that. This is Pastor Omar A. Muhammad, and I am out.